Alright guys, welcome to part 2. So we're going to jump all the way over to where we left off. Went too far. Right? Okay. So this is where I left off with you guys, and here's where we're going to start. So finding angle measures. So remember, you had vertical angles, which ended up being congruent to one another. You had adjacent, which were just right next to each other. You had complementary, which equaled 90 degrees, and you had supplementary, which equaled 180 degrees. Okay? So looking at these two angles in 13, just looking at them, they're directly across from one another. That tells me that they are vertical angles. And since they're vertical angles, I know that they need to be congruent to one another. So if the angle across from X is 107 degrees, that means X also has to equal 107 degrees. Because congruent is the same thing as saying equal. Now, for 15, looking at it, X and 142. Well, let me just highlight this part right here. What is that? If you said a straight line, you are correct, which means it has to equal 180 degrees. But I need to solve for X. But I know the two of them together have to give me 180. So I'm going to have to add them and set them equal to 180. So now I have a one-step equation to solve. So I'm going to solve by subtracting 142. So I get X to equal 38 degrees. So X in this case would be 38 degrees. Okay. So given the measure of RST is 112, so this full angle is 112. I need to find X, okay? Well, the full angle is 112, part of it's 87. Solving for X, what do you think you're going to have to do? If I knew the full thing's 112, I knew part of it's 87, I need to find the missing. Well, if you're saying just subtract the two, you are most certainly correct. So if I subtract them, that means X has to equal 25 degrees. And even to check my work, I could simply just take 87 plus 25. And that does give me 112. So that means X has to equal 25 degrees. Alright, 19. 19 is a little more difficult because there's 3 parts that you have to solve for, okay? If I notice, though, X and Y end up being vertical. So once I know what X is, I can know what Y is. Now, to get X, though, X is right here. It's adjacent to 127, but it's also along this, which is a straight line. So that means that I can solve for X real easy first by just doing 180 minus 127 and get X to equal 53 degrees. Well, we just discussed X and Y are congruent, so that means Y has to be 53 degrees. So now, solving for Z, well, this is 53. If part of this is 90, the other part is also 90. So to get Z, knowing that this is 90 degrees, I'm just going to have to take 90 minus 53. That gives me 37 degrees. So that means Z equals 37 I'm going to have you guys try 14, 16, 18, and 20. So pause the video and then come back. Alright guys, there you have it. Number 20 is a little challenging, but just pay attention. I did it in different colors for you guys. So Y and the 34 are vertical. So that's why Y is also 34 degrees. 34 and W make a right angle. So subtracting those, you get 56. X automatically is a 90. YZ here, they form a straight line. Well, you know Y is 34, so subtracting 180 and 34 gives you 46. Alright. Word problems. So it's important to pay close attention. So if G and H are supplementary, measure of angle H is 51, I need to find G. Well, since G and H are supplementary means what? If you said 180, you're correct. So angle G and angle H have to add to equal 180. So I know the measure of angle G plus the measure of angle H plus the measure of angle H have to equal 180 degrees. Well, filling in what I know angle H is 51. I don't know what G is, so what do we do when we don't know what something is? Plug in a variable. So now you have a one-step equation. So solving, you get x to equal 129 degrees. Okay, so it was words that we were able to write an equation from and solve. A lot easier than you thought, right? So try 22 and 23 and come back and check your work. Alright, double check. How'd you guys do? Pretty good? Maybe 23 was difficult? Remember, this nail is complementary. It's just like the one I went with you guys through. So, what I'm going to have you guys do now is all the evens on the angle worksheet that's posted. As always, guys, if you have any questions, please reach out. I do have office hours on Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 to 10:30, but send me a message if you guys have any questions. All right, have a good day.